Hi everyone, let's go ahead and get started with the for loops in a Python. For loop is used for iterating over a sequence in a Python. The sequence which is already defined with the tuples, set or the dictionary or a custom kind of list like range, you can iterate those values using a for loop. This for loop is similar to like any other programming languages you might have seen in C and C++. The overall working principle is same here in the Python as well. For example, let's say you have a data variable a equal to where you have a banana and then you have here apples and then you have here the cherry. Suppose that you want to print these values from this variable, then how do you do that? You can simply write here a for loop for x in a. That means it will iterate over this list one by one. Each of these items will be placed here in x variable at one iteration, and thereafter you can write your statement inside this. If you want to do any pre-processing or print or whatever you want to do, then you can put your code there. Let's go ahead, print x there. So if I print x there, it's gonna just print here banana, apples and cherries. Alright, perfect. Let's go ahead and see if you want to do some modification in your code. I mean to say that inside this for loop, how do you do that? Previously we had seen few methods to modify your string. That's what I'm gonna do here. Let's say if you want to make this string into the uppercase, you can simply do something like this. Now it has become there in uppercase. Similarly you can do in the title case. Alright, or any other statement, whatever the statement you want to write here, you can just write those statements there. Alright, inside this. Alright, so while we were in while loops lecture, we had seen two special type of statement, break and continue, to break down the loop. Let's go ahead and see how you can apply break and continue in your for loop. For example, if you don't want to print apples, then what you can do there? You can simply check here if x equal to apples. Alright, we had earlier there, it's apples. So if x equal to apples, then you can here continue there. Alright, that means the time it will start iterating this loop. Let's go ahead and define this loop here so that you can refer it here itself. So it will start iterating. The first it will iterate their banana. Since x is not equal to bananas, since this banana is not equal to apples, so this statement will not execute. It will print banana. And when it comes to the apples, so x will become apples equal to the apples, so it will execute this statement. This statement says that it will not execute anything after this. It will go back to here. Alright, that means this apple will not be printed, and then the cherry comes there. Let's go ahead and run this. Now you see there this banana and cherry. You can here do something like that inside continue loop. Alright, let's go ahead and run this. Now do you see there? This is now inside the continue loop. As soon as this execute this statement, it automatically goes here. It doesn't execute anything which comes after this continuous statement. Similarly, you can also apply for a break statement. Suppose that if you don't want to print anything after a particular value, suppose that once apples is printed, alright, and then you don't want to print anything. I mean to say that you just want to get out of the for loop, then how do you do that? Let's go ahead and delete this whole thing. So if you do something like that, the banana, apples and the cherry, these got printed, but I don't want to be printed anything after these apples. So what I do here, as soon as I reach to the apples, then I'm just gonna break my for loop. Alright, so I say here if x equal to apples, let's go ahead and just break this. So as soon as I as soon as this code runs this statement, it will automatically break this for loop. So the for loop will no longer run, unlike this continue statement. So the continue statement was something where only a single step was being skipped, but in a break, it actually break this whole loop from the, from the its root. I mean to say that it break down the for loop or while loop that doesn't run any further. Similarly, if you have many values to check, then you can also use their a list to check. For example, let's go ahead and copy that here, and let's say I have here few more values, something like this, and I don't want to print whenever the apples and 1, whenever x is apples and 1, then I don't want to print anything. So what I can do there, I can I can use here a continue statement. So it's like here, if x in, all right. Now you see there the difference. Earlier I was checking x equal to something, but now I'm going to check here x in a list. So the list which I'm going to define there, apples and 1. So whenever x is apples or 1, then I'm just gonna do here a continue. That's mean I don't want to print anything. All right, let's go ahead and see this one. Now you see banana, cherry and 2 got printed, but this apples and 1, just these got skipped there. And similar method you can also use to break your statement using if check with the list there. Alright, let's go ahead and see if you want to run your for loop for many number of times. Suppose that you have a list which is A, and the length of this list is len A equal to len of A. Alright, so the len of list A is 5 there, and you want to run your for loop 5 times, or let's say the 500 times, then how would you do that? The best way to do that using a range method in a Python. Like if you do their range and give some numbers, then it will give you a list there. Range 5, that's mean it will give you a range from 0 to 5. So you can iterate this range from range with the for loop, something like this, for x in range 5, and then you can print here x. So you see there the 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4 got printed. This is one way to do that. And if you want to iterate this list here, which we had seen earlier, the one way of the iteration of that list is this. But if you want to get the other methods to iteration of that list, you can simply do something like this. Range len of A, that's mean it's gonna iterate total number of length of the array A, and then you see its total 5 length of that array 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Similarly, you can print here that array with the index x there, something like that. So at the 0th index, banana is there, at 1 it's apples, at 4th it's a 2 there. Perfect. So this is all about in this lesson. Thanks a lot for watching this. I'll see you in next one.